And
Okay, good evening, everybody. This evening we're going to be learning all about protein and what protein requirements we need. And our international active world team member, Liesel, is going to present it to us. Liesel used to be an attorney, hated having to deal with clients and divorcing them, and decided to take up Herbalife and rather teach them to be healthy. So over to Liesel.
Thank you. That was a bad time sip. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. Okay, there's quite a bit of information, as I said, so we can head into the first slide. So what I decided to do is to give us a bit of an introduction around protein and why it is important, and then look at the different types of protein that we get, why it's so essential for the body, and then also look at the different types of protein products within Herbalife that we can use. So we're going to be looking at understanding healthy nutrition a little bit, specifically focusing on protein. So this is a slide some of you should know if you were on Carrie Ann's call. It's about Herbalife Balanced Nutrition. Herbalife's nutrition philosophy is based on this. So what we learned at the extravaganza is that this is the basis, or the scientific basis upon which we put our meal plans together. So even if you're working with someone who thinks that they're a know-it-all and they understand nutrition, and they say, but why do you say I should have the shake and I should have a protein bar as a snack? What makes you an expert on that? This is what we use. This is where our information comes from. So Herbalife's whole philosophy is based on the fact that you should balance your daily calorie intake. 100% of the calories that you eat, 30% should go towards fats, 40% should go towards carbohydrates, and 30% should go towards protein. Those are the three macronutrients, the core ones that we focus on. But each one of those, when we cover those in future trainings, have little sub-menus, if you want to call it, that go along with them. There's other things that you need to focus on, like rest, like hydration, like exercise. All of that gives you a complete package as part of a healthy, active lifestyle. But tonight we're going to focus on protein. So if we can head into the next slide, please, Bea. So these are all the nutrients that your body really needs. And all of these, this is such a great image because it really illustrates all the building blocks that you need for a healthy body. So it really starts at the bottom with your macronutrients. Macro meaning large, so you need a large quantity of these. These are your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. And then you add on top of that your micronutrients, which are your vitamins and your minerals. Then over and above that, your phytonutrients are important. Those are all your different colors because they all add different amino acids and nutrients, not amino acids, antioxidants to your body. That's why we need different colors of vegetables and fruits. Then the essential element of fiber that your body needs for proper digestive health, for feeling satisfied. And then combining that all together right at the top is the importance of water. Next slide, please, Bea. So what is protein? Protein is regarded as the first nutrient, and for those of you who are a bit of a language or a science geek, why it's referred to as the first nutrient is because protein, the base word of protein is protos meaning first. So that's why protein is referred to as the first nutrient. It's the first nutrient that your body actually searches for and needs when it's looking to fuel itself. Next slide, please, Bea. Okay, so each and every single protein, no matter what type of protein it is that you eat, is made up of amino acids. Now, there are in total around 20 different amino acids, but 9 of them are essential amino acids, meaning the body cannot produce these on its own. It needs to get it from the sources that we eat. And these are regarded as complete proteins, which I'll elaborate on a little bit later on. Next slide, please, Bea. So these amino acids, if you imagine a little Lego set, this is what an amino acid really is. They are the building blocks for your body. So when you eat a protein, let's say you're eating an egg, the different types of protein, and there's more than one type of protein in an egg, I learned today. with the different types of protein that you have, each one of those proteins will have different amino acids that make up that protein. So one amino acid could be a short amino acid and have, a short protein link, and it can have 9 amino acid blocks or building blocks in it. Another one can have only 3 in it. Another one can have a link as long as 100 or 200 blocks. So it depends on the type of protein, how many of those different types of amino acids it would have linked together. And that's what the body then uses once you've digested it and broken it down into those single units to send into your bloodstream and use in the different parts of your body. Next slide, please, Via. So why do we need this protein? First off, and most important, it helps to maintain lean body mass. And when we're talking about lean body mass, it doesn't just refer to the amount of muscle that you have in your body. It's everything in your body, your skeleton, your organs, everything in your body that isn't fat is regarded as lean body mass. So all of those parts of your body need protein to repair itself and to function properly. Next slide, please, Via. It also gives you energy. So this is extremely important for your metabolism. Without sufficient protein, your metabolism cannot function properly. And when your metabolism doesn't function properly and your body is lacking the right amount of protein, it goes looking for it elsewhere in your body. And one of the first places it starts taking the amino acids it needs to do repairs in other parts of your body is to take it from your lean muscle mass. And that can be dangerous because the more lean muscle you lose, we know from body composition and what we work with, if you have too little lean muscle, the body tends to store more fat. So you really want to protect your fat burning engine, which is your lean muscle and your metabolism. Next slide, please, Bia. So when you don't get enough protein, you can end up being tired and you could feel physically weak. And also, scarily, as we age, we naturally start to lose lean muscle as well. And after the age of 50, you can lose around 1.5% to 2% of your lean muscle every year. So without you doing anything funny with your diet, this is just a natural occurrence. You can start to lose that amount of lean muscle after age 50. And from age 60, it practically doubles. You can lose up to 2 times that amount every single year. This is why eating healthy and balanced, eating enough protein, combined with all the other things that we advocate around a healthy, active lifestyle, like getting enough exercise in, and impact-bearing exercise is so critically important to maintain that lean muscle mass. Next slide, please, Bia. So then begs the question, how much protein do you really need? And there isn't a simple answer for this because each person is different. So the basis that we operate from is that 30% of your daily calories should come from your food and from supplements. So supplementation is almost a given. Otherwise, you're going to really struggle to keep your calories in check and still get the right amount of protein in. What Dr. Heber told us is that you should try and balance your protein intake. You should get half of your protein intake from your plant proteins. Those are things like lentils, soy, pea, and quinoa. And the other 50% from your animal protein sources. Why? Because animal protein tends to come with saturated fat, so you don't want to push up your saturated fat too much. And what we learned at the extravaganza last year is that if someone says Herbalife is a high protein diet, the simple answer there is no. The 30% that we advocate is well within the parameters that is set by the Institute of Medicine. Now, the Institute of Medicine is a global agency that sets the worldwide nutrition guidelines. So they basically set the minimum standards of what you should eat in your diet to at least survive. Next slide, please, Bia. Okay, so if you don't have a thing like a protein calculator, there's various ways. You can go online and search for protein calculators. There are a ton of them available where you can input your own data or a client's data to calculate the protein. Other than that, if you don't have access to those types of things, or you quickly need to work out how much protein a person needs, for women, on average, it's between 1.2 grams to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And for guys, it's between 1.5 to 1.8. So the heavier a person is, the more protein they need. And guys, because they have more lean muscle, automatically need more protein. That's why they fall within the higher ranges. But don't see these as exacts. These are guidelines. I know of people who significantly increased their training and that are at a stage now where they need around 2.2 to 2.3 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And this is why our job as coaches is so important when we do those weekly follow-ups with our clients and we plot them on a Tanita scale, because we can clearly see when they're continuously losing lean muscle and it's not related to anything else that they're doing, they're hydrating properly, they're doing what they should be doing, we know that we can recommend that they increase their protein intake if they keep on losing muscle mass on a weekly basis. But the focus is not just about high protein. It's about getting the right amount of protein and also the right quality of protein. Those two go hand in hand. Next slide, please, Bea. Okay, so the proteins that your body makes. When you eat something protein-based, it moves through your digestive system, and then it gets broken down into those little amino acids. So all those little circles you see in that image that I popped in there, all of those are individual amino acids. So that whole protein that you're seeing there, once it hits your digestive tract, your stomach, the body already starts breaking it down into those little individual units. And it's those individual units that then get absorbed into your bloodstream. The building blocks used to manufacture, they manufacture around 50,000 different body proteins. So depending on where it's needed in the body, it will link up different amino acids to service that specific organ or that specific part of your body. And each one of them has a specific structure and function based upon its arrangement. So some of the uses of these amino acids are the enzymes that speed up the chemical reactions in your body. So when your body secretes different kinds of hormones, those are the chemical reactions. They act as chemical messengers, so they get the message from the brain or to the brain faster for something to happen. There's proteins that support your immune function. There's proteins that are responsible and amino acids that are responsible for transporting the nutrients in your body. And of course, you also have proteins that provide the structure to your bones, to your skin, to your hair, your nails, as well as your muscle. So yes, the one we talk about the most is probably lean muscle, but it's important to understand that all of these other parts of your body also requires those amino acids, and the only place it's going to get it is from protein. So to ensure a steady supply, it's important that you consume adequate protein every single day. So you need protein daily, and eating the right amount and the right types of protein is very important. If you consistently have a shortage in your diet, your body has no choice but to start breaking down the protein elsewhere in your body. And the scary part is when it's taken enough from the muscle and it can't get any more from the muscle, it can target your organs as well. And you can cause organ damage. So you can start losing proteins from your vital organs, which is really, really critical. Next slide, please, Bea. Okay, so I mentioned earlier on that you get different types of proteins, your complete proteins and your incomplete proteins. So the type of protein you eat makes a big difference as well. Of the 20 amino acids that your body uses to manufacture those more than 50,000 different combinations that I mentioned earlier on, 9 of them are called essential. So these have to come from your diet. Your body cannot take other amino acids that it gets and make a complete protein or a complete amino acid. It's unable to do that. So it has to get it from the remaining food. The remaining 11 amino acids out of the 20, the body can put together from the different building blocks that you do supply it with. So these typically come from your animal sources. So all of your animal protein sources are automatically complete proteins, and they contain all the essential amino acids that your body needs. Those are things like meat, so your red meats, fish, poultry, eggs, milk, and milk products. Your incomplete proteins are found in your plant worlds. That's things like your beans, lentils, nuts, and whole grains, because they are lacking in one or more of the essential amino acids. So they might have 6 out of the 9 or 5 out of the 9, but not the full 9. Now, strict vegetarians try and work around this by consuming a wide variety of foods to try and make sure that they get the full complement of those essential amino acids. The only problem is, though, if it's someone who's also focused on maintaining their weight or losing weight even, it becomes very difficult. Because if you start adding up the calories of all of those different types of protein plant sources that you need to eat to make up the amino acids that your body needs, you often find yourself in a difficult position where your calories far exceed what you should be eating for the day. And this is where Herbalife really, really helps people out massively. The exception to the incomplete plant proteins is actually soybeans. So if you've ever wondered why Herbalife uses soy as a protein base in almost all of its products, this is why. It's because it's a complete protein. And any one of your types of protein foods that are derived from soy, such as tofu, tempeh, soy milk, or soy protein powders, are also complete proteins. Next slide, please, Vera. So the benefits of soy. So let's touch a little bit on soy. It's one of your most digestible of proteins as well. So we've spoken about the right quantity and the right quality. Soy fits both of those categories. But the third important thing is that it needs to be highly digestible. In other words, when you eat 100 calories of a type of protein, you want that the body absorbs as much of that as possible. Otherwise, what's the point? If it only absorbs 10% of the protein that's in that protein source and the rest gets excreted. But it's still calories that you're adding to your diet. And this is why soy is so awesome. So this is a protein digestibility amino acid score, this little circle thing that you guys are looking at. And you'll see soy is highlighted in blue. It's right at the top, and it's there together with milk protein, which is casein, and egg whites. It's got a rating of 1. So it's almost 100% digested and absorbed by the body. So you're getting full bang for your buck in terms of the amount of calories that you're eating. You'll be taking in the full amount of protein. Next slide, please, Vera. Now, a lot of people have issues with soy, and you might encounter these if you haven't encountered them yet, where people have complaints about soy and they say that it's high in estrogen, and guys often complain about it because they say if they eat soy because it contains estrogen, they'll develop man boobs. I don't know how many of you have heard complaints like that, but you do get them. I've had it myself already, especially from athletes. Athletes have a big problem with soy often. But soy is classified as a weak plant estrogen. Now, this isn't research that I did on my own. This is what Dr. Heber shared with us last year. And he says that the type of estrogen that you get in soy is 1,000 times biologically weaker than regular estrogen that a female would have in her body. Now, males do have a certain limited amount of estrogen naturally in their bodies, same as females have a certain amount of testosterone in their bodies. But the estrogen that you get from soy, our bodies deal with completely different, as opposed to the hormone estrogen that you may get injected with. So estrogen, in general, floats around in the body, and then it attaches to certain receptors where they stimulate the production of more estrogen. So what Dr. Heber explained is, if you imagine you've got a cup, and this is the receptor, and you've got the estrogen molecule, it fits in perfectly with this receptor. This is regular, normal estrogen, the hormone. And as soon as this happens, it tends to make the body produce more estrogen. Meaning, if a man were to supplement with estrogen, if he had to go for regular estrogen injections, he would develop man boobs over time. However, although the estrogen you find in soy, on a chemical structure, in other words, if you draw those little circles with the lines, those little molecules, if you draw that, it looks like regular estrogen, but it's not. Soy also floats around in the body, and it fits in the same receptor as estrogen. The only difference is it does nothing to the body. It doesn't stimulate the production of more estrogen. And for me, a prime example that guys don't develop man boobs is John Tartle. He's been using Herbalife for more than 30 years. And if you look at those pictures there, that guy does not have man boobs. He has serious pecs and serious abs. So good story to use if someone complains about soy and man boobs. Okay, science lesson over. Next slide, please, Bea. Okay, so where do we find protein within our Herbalife products? So looking at our shakes contain 9 grams of protein, just as it is, the soy powder, the shake powder. If you're mixing it in a milk basis, depending on what type of milk it is you're using, whether you're using a soy milk or a skim milk, or a soy milk powder, it can bump it up to around 18 grams of protein. To the right of that, we've got our awesome gourmet tomato soup. 1 serving of that is going to give you around 7 grams of protein. And what I love about something like the gourmet tomato soup, it's not something that you just use as a snack. You can use it to use it as a base for your pasta sauces. You can make amazing dips with it. If you haven't had a look at www.level10club.co.za yet, please pop in there, go and have a look at some of those recipes. There's quite a few recipes posted there that actually use this as a base. Then you've got to the right of that your protein bars in 3 different flavors, but each one of those bars contains around 10 grams of protein, which is really, really awesome. Then bottom left, one of my favorite products is the protein drink mix. This has really changed how I mix my shakes because I don't run around looking for milk anymore or milk substitutes to mix my shakes in. And 2 scoops of that is going to give me 15 grams of protein. But it's only around 100 calories. And this is where the big difference really comes in. Especially if you have a client who needs a lot of protein. If you've got someone who needs 140, 150, 160 grams of protein, if it's a very big overweight person or a big built guy, for instance, it's difficult to get that amount of protein and still keep your calories in check. And this is where the protein drink mix is really fantastic because it gives you that lean, highly digestible and absorbable soy protein, but at a very low calorie intake. And apart from that, it makes your shake taste amazing. That's a great way to mix your shakes. Then if you want to add another type of protein, you've got your personalized protein powder. 1 scoop of that is around 5 grams of protein that you get from it. This is also great because the protein powder has no specific flavoring or taste. You can use it as a base to make sauces. Use it as a base to thicken soups or stews. There's lots of different ways in which you can use it to up your protein intake. So even if you're making something like a vegetable stew, you can add a couple of scoops in there, let it dissolve nicely, mix it in nicely. It won't change the taste of your meal, but it's going to give you a lot of added extra protein which you wouldn't be getting otherwise. And then for those who have more of a savory taste as well, the roasted soy nuts is going to give you around 8.7 grams of protein per little packet. So if you have a tendency for the crunchy, salty things, the soy nuts is absolutely awesome. Next slide, please, Vera. And then, of course, not forgetting our awesome Herbalife 24 range. We've got amazing products in the Herbalife 24 range, and all of them contain different types of protein. So the big difference between the Formula One Sport Shake versus the Formula One regular meal shakes that we use is that we've got soy protein as a base with the regular Formula One shakes, whereas the Formula One Sport Shake has milk proteins. So it's a combination of casein and whey protein that you have in there. Why? Because the body tends to absorb those 2 proteins much faster, and athletes prefer that. And you also get around 9 grams per serving, and if you're mixing it in a milk base, it's about 18 grams of protein that you'll get from there. To the right of that is one of our products that we use for hydration, especially during longer endurance events. That's the Prolong. What makes this product phenomenal is that what a lot of people focus on during a sports event is to get carbo loading again. In other words, to replenish the carbs that they lose during a workout. Herbalife thought a little bit further, and this is where John Heiss was brilliant when he developed this product. He said that you start breaking down and losing lean muscle already while you're busy doing an endurance event. So it's important to add in a bit of extra protein. So your Prolong, although it's quite high in calories because it's meant for your endurance events and it's got quite a high percentage of carbohydrates, it also does provide around 6.8 grams of protein per serving, so that while you're busy with your endurance event, your body can already start taking that protein and start doing the repairs. And that's why you can prolong your endurance during an event. Brilliant product. Bottom left and bottom right, we've got 2 different recovery products, depending on whether you're an endurance athlete or whether you're someone who's just focusing on other types of workout and more strength-based types of training. So for the people who do things like hockey and soccer and running, cycling, the one on the left, your Rebuild Endurance, even for swimmers, this is a great product. It's a little bit higher on the carb side, but it also has around 10 grams of protein because you'll need to replenish more carbs than protein with that type of workout. But nonetheless, you've got the 10 grams of protein in there. And then to the right, one of my favorite products in the Herbalife 24 range is the Rebuild Strength. Apart from the fact that it's around 3 or 4 different products that you would buy separately if you're looking at other brands, if you had to go to Dis-Chem or wherever else combined into one product, it's got 25 grams of protein in it. So even if you have a client that's looking to gain weight and gain lean muscle, this is a fantastic product because it's got the 25 grams of protein in it. It's got your branch chain amino acids in it. it's got your L-glutamine in it, and all of those things are critical to help to rebuild lean muscle mass. And I know after a strenuous workout, because I focus a lot on strength training, if I don't have that after my workout, I am sore for days after that. Where having that straight after the workout, apart from the fact that it tastes delicious, it definitely does the job to help your body recover faster. And with any one of our products, you don't always have to use it according to the guidelines. So often, if I'm looking to bump up my shake a little bit and also just change the taste a bit, I'll take 1 to 2 scoops of the Rebuild Strength and add that to my shake. So I don't use a full 5-scoop portion, but you can play around with it and you can vary it depending on what your intensity level is. So that pretty much covers what I wanted to cover with you guys. I hope that I've answered most of your questions that you've had around protein. There's a lot more that I could share, but we don't have that much time available. I don't know if there's time for questions, Bia?
I would say so, please, yeah.
Anyone have anything they want to ask?
Hello.
Hey, Roxana.
Okay, so I have a question. When I started on Herbalife, I was told that you only allowed 1 protein bar a day. That's
Really?
excluding your normal meal. And obviously now, 7 months later, I can tell you, I'm going to truthfully say I don't have 1 protein bar. I have more than 1. So after this lesson, my question to you is, what is the maximum amount of protein bars you can intake a day? And this is both for losing weight and to pick up weight.
Look, I think like anything in life, it's about moderation. Okay, so the first thing to focus on is that you shouldn't have more than 1 protein bar in a sitting. And it should still fit in with your regimen of your meals that you've planned for the day. So if you want to do 2 protein bars a day, and it's part of your snacks that you're having, I don't see that being a problem. The only challenge you have with the protein bars is because they taste so delicious. If you don't have a glass of water with them, if you've had one, you want to take another one and another one and another one. So it's important that, yeah?
Especially when I go hiking, then I take 2 or 3 bars with me, and I promise you I'll finish it.
Look, if you're doing something as strenuous as a hike where you're burning a lot of calories, it probably won't have a huge impact. The thing that one must be careful of is the client who's not exercising at all and they want to go through 3 protein bars in a day. Keeping in mind, anything that you eat throughout the day should still fit in with your calorie budget, and you want to make sure that you are balancing your meals. So as awesome as the protein bars are, it won't be beneficial to me to eat if my calorie intake for the day is 1,800 calories. Which is more or less where I'm at. I can't eat 1,800 calories of protein bars. I can, but it's not going to help. It's not going to be beneficial. So variety is also very important. And what you can do, which I've done before, is I actually combine the protein bar and the soy nuts, because the 10 grams of protein in the protein bar is not enough for me as a snack. Because of the amount of calories that I can eat per day, or that I should eat per day, I need to, and the amount of protein that I need as a person, 10 grams per snack is too little. So I aim for around 15 grams with my snacks, 15 to 18 grams. But again, that's personally on my side. So when you calculate your client's protein intake that they need for the day, make sure that for their main meals, breakfast and lunch and dinner, they're not having less than 20 grams of protein. I'm aiming for around 20 grams up to 30 grams, depending on what it divides up into. And for the snacks, not less than 10 grams, but it can go up to 15, and for some people even up to 20 grams. Again, depending on what their protein intake is for the day and how many meals you're going to be splitting it across. I've got a couple of guys that weigh in excess of 150 kilos. So their meal plan is 3 main meals plus 3 snacks. So again, you need to tailor it according to your client's needs. Does that answer your question?
100%. Thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
Lisa, can I just say, recently at a training, we learned that if you are trying to lose weight, you should be careful of how many protein bars you do eat a day.
Yeah, the reason for that is the carbohydrate content in the protein bars. Yes. But I think if you're sticking to your maximum of 2, if you're having one per snack, you should still be okay. Personally, if I'm really hungry, I will rather mix myself another shake. For me, I feel I can benefit more from all of the balance of nutrients in a shake versus protein and a little bit of carbs that I get in the protein bars. So for me, the protein bars, personally, I keep at home more as a sweet treat. If I really crave something sweet and I want to have something sweet, that's what I do with my protein bars. But yeah, spot on, Marge.
The other thing I want to ask about is with your age, you know, you need more protein as you age.
Because of the amount of lean muscle that you lose, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is why the scans are important as well. If you're doing the scans regularly, you'll see whether you're actually maintaining your lean muscle or whether you're busy losing it. And then you can always adjust your protein intake upwards. And it also depends on activity levels. And this is, again, why what we do as coaches is really important, and the effort and time that we put in with our clients. And this is why we get the success and why Herbalife is the top seller in terms of shakes. It's not just because of the shake, it's because of the coach that comes with it that really looks after their client. Where other people that buy products off the shelf, not even comparing the products or saying it's a good or a bad product, no one's really looking after them. And when they run into these kinds of obstacles where they're losing lean muscle and they don't even know that that's what's busy happening, they end up giving up because they suddenly start gaining more and more fat, but it's because they lost a lot of lean muscle.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No questions from me. I told you she can do this.
Quickly, a few highlights from my side. Lisa, you were talking about breaking down the muscle, and often we forget that is our most important muscle and that we have more and more issues with heart disease. So to play around with the protein and get the right amount of protein is not just a game to gain these muscles, it's actually more important for our heart, and especially the older we get, to get that right. So was a very valid point you made there with breaking down the muscle. And another thing, Liesl, where you were talking about water intake when we eat the protein bars. Maybe you want to say a little bit more about water intake in general when you take protein.
Okay, the body absorbs protein far, far better if you are keeping your hydration in check. So for the body to properly absorb protein, it needs sufficient water to be able to do that. And if you think about water, it's also a transporter. It helps to transport nutrients. So if you are dehydrated and the body doesn't have sufficient water, the protein that you eat here is going to hit your digestive tract, and the body is most likely going to excrete it because there's no taxi to transport it. So that's why water is really, really critical. It aids the absorption of protein. It's very important.
And this is one of the major key points, what Lisa said earlier on, with having rather a shake instead of another protein bar. Liquid protein is much faster absorbed from your muscle. So if you want to have a fast effect, especially when you're hungry or when you have cravings, then rather have quickly another shake. You have more benefit from it. Excellent. One more question, Liesl, because I get often this question, and maybe we should have answers here on the call as well. Can I overdose with protein? Besides now the calorie intake, obviously we need to monitor, but can I overdose taking shakes? When you say now it's good to have another shake, we often promote our 5 p.m. shake to have it instead of overeating at night time. What is your experience there?
Well, you can't really overdose on protein. Again, it will go back to calories. If you're eating too much protein and you're exceeding your calorie base, that excess protein that the body doesn't absorb, it will either get rid of it or it will convert it and store it into fat. So the important thing with protein is to make sure that you're balancing it properly throughout the day, that you're keeping your meals in check, making sure that you're eating protein in the right quantities, and also remembering that your body cannot absorb more than around 30 grams of protein per sitting. So if you have a client that says, but can't I just eat a 2 kilogram steak that's going to give me my 160 gram proteins that I need for the day? No, you can't. because the body is only going to take what it can absorb in that one sitting, and it's going to get rid of the rest. So that's why we spread the protein intake across the day, and never more than around 30. Some people say you can push it up to around 35 grams of protein per sitting, but definitely not more than that. The body cannot physically absorb that amount of protein, but you can't overdose on it. In other words, make yourself ill or sick because of it. It's just the body will only use what it can at a certain point in time.
What I like to add on to my clients is always then, yes, with the animal protein, obviously, as you said early on, with the saturated fat, we should be very much in moderation. So if somebody just lives on animal protein from breakfast till supper, there it might cause a problem, because the saturated fat can cause too much acidity in your body, which can cause then certain problems as well. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. So back to Carrie-Anne. If there are not more questions, then I think it's up to Carrie-Anne, who started the call, to end of the call. But thank you very much, Liesl. It was awesome.
Awesome training, Liesl. I took 2 pages of notes here, so I learned something tonight. And I'm pretty sure everybody else did on the call, and we can go out and use this when assisting our customers and planning their meal plans. So thanks very much